Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. SEC and its policies rely on whatever Gary thinks. Bitcoin's a flight to quality. I heard that from Larry Fink. Every hour losing purchasing power on foolish out there. It's not our fault. Blame the cult. It's the political cowards. When it comes to gas, our purchasing power just got cut in half. I sit back and laugh, open my bag, fill it with stacks and sats.
Let's get into it. Market's feeling good, feeling exciting. Let's go.
For this.
BitLab Academy. My name's Kellam. The market is absolutely waking up. Are we about to see that massive extension, bullish explosion to the upside? We're seeing altcoins wake up as well. And we saw massive news yesterday from Michael Saylor on the earnings call yesterday with MicroStrategy. $84 billion Bitcoin buy is going to be coming in. Well, we got to talk about that. And what does it mean for when we're looking at the market? Because we saw a breakout this morning and we're seeing a dump on the price action. But what does that mean? What we're actually seeing is a beautiful structure. This is a 7-minute chart on Bitcoin. Nice, beautiful breakout of this upper resistance. And again, this is a 7-minute chart, very small time frame. As it stands right now, look at this. We tapped all the way up to just under $98,000. About, if we want to see exactly what the high was, just put our mouse over that candle right there. How does that tell us a high? Look, OHLC, open candle, the high of the candle, the low of the candle, and the close. So on the H right there, what is that? $97,915 was a high currently. And what did we see? We saw a retrace currently. It's not a breakdown. It's not a crash. We're seeing a retrace in the price action back to, look at this, where these highs were, where this chop rejections were, where this rejection was, where this rejection, all of this. This is exactly where the price action came back to, which also happens to be above this previous resistance. Is this trying to flip this to support? As it stands right now, this is looking actually overwhelmingly bullish. When you're expecting very huge amount of bullishness in the price action, you want to see retest back to the downside. You want to see the breakout. You want to see the bears try to make an attempt and the bulls to defend an area. In this case, it would be consistent with higher lows that are actually increasing in that shape with, more bullishness. The bulls defending targets higher versus coming all the way back down here, which would also have lost this region of all these previous range highs that we're seeing, but also this descending level of resistance. So what we've seen on the price action so far, as it stands so far today, is incredibly bullish, but we're going to dive into this. We have so much more to look at as well. If this is your first time here, I can guarantee you this is not going to be your last time. My name's Kellam. Welcome to the BitLab Academy. We're going to be breaking down the charts. We're going to be looking at some critical metrics, some on-chain. We're also going to be doing some TA on some altcoins, because as much as I think Bitcoin is king, I'm still a degen. I'm still trading some of these altcoins, trying to do what? Rotate some of those profits into capturing more Bitcoin. But you got to be smart about it. You got to make sure you're not just writing a coin because you saw somebody else's narrative or you're expecting it to go 35x like Solana already did from $8 up to $295. Is it going to happen again? Maybe. Probably not this cycle. I still think there's going to be some multiples there, but the question is capturing that volatility in a meaningful way that benefits you, not just jumping into and out of trades because you heard somebody on YouTube talk about it. So when we dive in and we look at what's going on in the market and we realize that everything is looking so gosh darn good. We're seeing the crypto total market cap over $3.03 trillion. That would be $3.30 million, right? That's right, 3.03. But over $3 trillion is what we're looking at. We also see the fear and greed is getting back up. But let's actually go ahead and look at this right here. If you come up here to cryptocurrencies and you come over here to Altcoin Season Index, just notice something. This is looking over the last 90 days. If you zoom down here, remember, not so long ago, about 2 weeks ago, everything was like 90, 90, 80, 80, 80, 70. This is % down over the last 90 days. Now, we've seen some nice bullishness in some of these assets, but we're still seeing pretty big divergence from where these coins were only 90 days ago to where we're at now. There's a lot of room to make up before a lot of people in the market even get back to parity. And that's important because although it feels good that there's bullishness, when the majority of people, especially in altcoins, are still at a loss from where they entered, a lot of people holding underwater, then that also presents an opportunity that you need to be aware of, that as price pulls back or pushes back up to those average entries for market players, there's going to be a lot of people, not everybody, but there's going to be some concern at minimum, but there's going to be people that exit positions because they're like, it's too much stress. It got back to my entry. I'm out. So you have to pay attention and be aware of that as this market does swing back up, and also considering what's going to happen with altcoins, because we also realize that we're seeing, record over a period of time, record highs on the dominance. Now, it's not all-time high dominance because at one time, Bitcoin was the only block on the street, right? So when we consider the fact that right now we're seeing Bitcoin dominance basically right about 64% of the entire 3 trillion plus market cap for crypto, 64% of that is Bitcoin itself. And Bitcoin dominance has been trending up for about 3 years. So you have to contend with that when you're trying to figure out what you're doing in this market. Now, let's exit that. This is what we're looking at right here. Bitcoin, altcoins, risk assets, especially assets in crypto, because this is USDT.D. This is the dominance of stablecoins. If people are selling crypto, but they're staying in the market, they tend to sell to Bitcoin to USDT or USDC, basically selling to stablecoin, meaning exiting their crypto position, but maintaining their, being in the crypto ecosystem, but keeping it in a stablecoin. So when you see dominance rising, a lot of that is people selling out of assets into the stables, AKA dry powder. It's also printing of the coin, but this also sets up the other scenario there, which is very bullish, that when you come into a known sort of trend line that we've seen like this, and you do get a reversal on the USDT dominance actually reversing to the downside, this reversal to the downside is very, very, very advantageous. It's reflected in bullish price action in those crypto assets you're holding. Not every one of them, but it becomes more broad the bigger this dip is. Now, as it stands right now, there's two major things that I'm watching right now with USDT.D, the dominance of stablecoins, is not only do we have this descending trend line here that is already showing signs of reversal, we also see on the RSI peaking up into the zone that it's reversed from each time, also breaking down below the support trend line on the RSI. But beyond that, we're seeing a bearish pattern form with the descending level of resistance and a flat level of support. This is called a descending triangle. These tend to break to the downside. So we're not only looking forward to and planning for this move from this point here to this known support, it's watching what happens if this does break down further, because this will be a massive bullish signal for Bitcoin and some of those altcoins that you're holding. Now, it's only one ingredient in the picture that we're looking at across the broader array of things that we want to contend with. This is that story we were talking about with Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor has written the playbook for a Bitcoin treasury, corporate Bitcoin treasury. Master yesterday on their earnings call basically announced that they've doubled the amount. Remember, before it was 42 billion. And they've deployed, I think they still had about 18 billion that they can deploy into buying Bitcoin. Remember, it's not crypto. They're deploying into Bitcoin. It's a Bitcoin strategy company. Strategy is the name of the company. They even changed it from MicroStrategy to Strategy with the Bitcoin logo at the end. But they doubled that $42 billion raise now to $84 billion to purchase more Bitcoin. They've already got over about 530,000. Yes, you heard that correct. 530,000 Bitcoin. And they're planning to buy another $84 billion worth of Bitcoin. And he famously said only a couple months ago that they were going to raise this amount, and what they're going to do in the future, they're going to double it. And then in the future, they're going to double it again. So as their company grows and they have the more ability to raise more capital, they're going to continue stacking. So my question for you is, if you got half a Bitcoin or a quarter Bitcoin or maybe 0.1 Bitcoin, do you really think that's enough? It's got to be up to your own strategy and what you're going to do here. But If MicroStrategy doesn't have enough at 530,000, I'm doing everything possible in my world. I'm staying up late at night. I'm doing a bunch of different media things. I'm doing contract work. I am working my tail off. Yes, I love the crypto ecosystem. Yes, I like doing content. But at the end of the day, it's about how can I take advantage of my time right now to mine as much US dollar to get that deployed into the crypto market. Because every dollar that I make, if I hold it, it becomes devalued almost by the minute. If I deploy that into Bitcoin, I am deploying it into an exponential future. Once you realize that, and that really lands in your understanding of Bitcoin and what we're seeing the future possibilities or limitations of, then you start to change how you interact with the world that you live in right now. Every dollar I spend, I ask, do I want to steal $10,000 from my future? That makes you really think about how you spend your money right now when we're at a pivotal time in history on the event, in the middle of the event horizon of an entirely new landscape, especially a financial landscape, and what that means for our future. So let's take this all very seriously. Even though we can be playful, we can have a good time, but we need to make sure that we are locked in and focused. So let's dive in a bit more. We got a lot of things to cover today. We also saw a potential altcoin ban in Europe. Can you believe this? I can, because I've talked about it before, and that is Monero and other privacy coins. EU to ban anonymous cryptocurrencies and privacy tokens by 2027. Now, who's to say whether or not the same European administration and leaders in government are still going to uphold that into 2027? The point is, Bitcoin has already been enough of a threat to the system, to the world government, to the architecture that has been the systems of oppression that we've been living in. And now beyond that, as I'm saying it, we're getting thunder outside because I'm making the man mad. I'm making the people that pull the levers mad. But the truth is, when we're investing right now, when Bitcoin has already historically been at such contention with every government, why? Because Bitcoin's agnostic to every government. There is no controls on it, but it is transparent and you can see all transactions. With Monero and other privacy tokens, I've been hands off. Do I think they're cool tech? At the end of the day, I'm going to make sure that I'm putting my money as an investment and things that I don't think have an overwhelming, because everything in crypto has a target on its back, but I don't want to put my money in something that has an overwhelming, magnified with 42x scope on it. Like, is it really... Is it going to be around? I don't know. So again, I'm not hating on XMR, on Monero, but this is just one of those things that we're going to see popcorn throughout the ecosystem as the world wakes up and realizes the need for integration of blockchain technology, but also what does that mean and what type are we comfortable with? We're going to have to see how this plays out. So that's why you see that altcoin ban on the thumbnails, because there are some altcoins that may be getting banned here in the very near future. Now we also see some of the things that might be waking up the market. China quietly exempts U.S. goods from tariffs, covering around $40 billion worth of imports in an effort to soften the blow of the trade war on its own economy. I think that this whole thing that's happening with the trade war, the tariffs, we're going to recognize by the end of the year that most of this had nothing really primarily to do with tariffs. Has to do with the economy, has to do with 9 to 10, 12 trillion dollars in debt that has to be refinanced this year in the US, has to do with getting the Fed back in order to cut the rates so we can service that debt, which we cannot do when we refinance it at the current rates. In addition to all these things in one basket, in addition to needing to have more equitable trade deals with all the world countries. There's so much on the table right now, and it's all being slammed into the first 100 days of Trump's administration, whether you like him or not, whether you like the things he's done or not. You can't debate that it is overwhelming how active and how much that they have done in this first 100 days. It's going to be interesting also to see how this plays out into the rest of the year. Well, let's look at some of those things. We talked about Monero. I don't know why that's in there twice. Now we want to talk about Bitcoin. We want to talk about price action. We want to talk about the signals that are suggesting, is there more upside? Is it a top? We've talked about this at length, but some of you, this might be your first time here. And again, if this is your first time here, welcome to the family. Welcome to the show. I want to know, roll call right now, every single one of you that's tuned in, whether you've chimed in on the live chat or not, whether you're watching here on Twitter, which is right here, scroll down right here. Let's see, right. My mouse. There we go. Whether you're watching right here, we got 843 people watching live on Twitter. Hit that retweet, hit that like button. By the way, we did not get that number that we needed. Where's it at? Yesterday, we only got 29 retweets. So again, today, we have all the way until Monday on today's stream. Everybody, all of you hit that retweet. I'll copy the link here into the live chat on YouTube. Retweet this. If we get to beyond 40 retweets by Monday, a Monday stream, then we'll do a $100 giveaway. We also have Rumble live right now as well, which make sure you're hitting that follow button, show some love there, and get involved in the live chat. What's up, BitLab fam? Let's get let's get active in the live chat. But the roll call is right now. Every one of you that's tuned in, type in what city and country or what city and state that you're tuned in from, and what was your last purchase? What coin? Whether it was Bitcoin, whether it was MicroStrategy, whether it was Chainlink. I'm curious to see that. Let's see where you guys are tuned in from and what you're buying. I want to see everybody getting active. Let's get this engagement up. Let's show some love. And again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding the bell, baby. Now, continuing on, what else we got? We got, where is that? Here we go. Bitcoin's Binance taker buy-sell ratio spikes, indicating a shift from passive accumulation to aggressive buying. Aggressive bullying of the bears, who are doomers and gloomers. Meanwhile, we're seeing the most bullish landscape and outlook looking forward, and platform of support and empowerment and capital channels coming in to absolutely aggressively stack into Bitcoin. And yet, so there's some people that are a little worried about Bitcoin's price action. Lay off, look at the data, because this is what we're seeing. This behavior currently often precedes strong upward price momentum, especially when combined with rising open interest and positive price structure. So we're not just looking at Bitcoin. We're not just drawing a line on the chart and going, it's going to break out because we got a bullish divergence. No, we're looking at the actual buying pressures, the open interest. The open interest is a signal to what's happening on the derivatives and leverage market. How many people on a ratio basis are going long, betting long on derivatives versus going short, betting short on derivatives? Because if everybody's going short, then it becomes expensive to go short. That open interest percentage goes up, and the premium, how much you're paying, it costs you more if everybody's going short. In fact, if you go long while everybody's going short, you actually have your fees being paid. You get paid. This is one of those ways that they can help mitigate and incentivize and disincentivize everybody from going long or everybody from going short. Because remember, leverage is meant to be a risk management tool, not, hey, I'm going to get rich tool. If you have $100 million that you're trading because you're a massive hedge fund or a big money player, at that level, you're not just betting all or nothing on something. You're betting, say, 90 million long with potentially a $10 million 10x leverage short. So you have mitigated risk where you're betting in both directions, which allows you to take advantage of the price movements without being fully exposed. Similarly, maybe somebody wants to take a position on a market and not put all of their capital in that trade, and they could put a percentage of it on a 2x or a 3x leverage, and then also take a hedged position in the other direction, or maybe on a different asset. In fact, we're seeing that more and more now with Bitcoin futures, CME futures, MicroStrategy, and then these different MicroStrategy call options like MSTY, where you're seeing big market players and very smart people that can financially engineer what they're doing, taking positions and then hedging those positions with other financial tools in the market. This is becoming more, I don't want to say more like Wall Street, but you're getting a lot more tools out there as more big money players come in. We're going to see a lot of these different signals and different data points emerge, and we're going to have to contend with it along the way. So let's continue to dive in here because we got some more things we want to look at. We got the reversal chart. We showed this from Caleb Franzen the other day. This is that Wyckoff accumulation. that we've seen with the breakdown and the chop here with the spring, where the price action goes a little lower, as we see right here, and then it just pushes up. We get to a new high, as we see right here, get to a new high beyond this zone right in here, and then we have a little consolidation before continuation. Now, this is not guaranteed, but to the moment, at the moment, this has played out pretty damn close. And this is a known pattern that has been around and identified since like 1910 or something like that. What is the origin? When did Wyckoff accumulation charts get identified? Boom. Let's see what the date is. Boom, 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 boom. Early 20th century by Richard Wyckoff. I mean, this is not something that's just novel to Bitcoin. This is, when you're looking at price action on a chart, you're really just looking at a map. You're looking at a map of human emotion mapped of bullish and bearish sentiment mapped over time, and the oscillation, the ping-ponging between when the bulls are in charge and when the bears are in charge. And so this is what you're seeing. And this is on any asset ever. And so you can look at these broader pictures and say, well, if this is happening, this has happened before. This is why we know on this falling wedge, this was likely to break to the upside. And you don't just guarantee that. You look at this formation, you go, this will likely break to the upside because these patterns have about a 70+% hit rate of breaking to the upside. So then what do you look for? The next signal. What's the next signal? As this is getting down and established in this trend, then you see this bullish divergence that formed right here. You can see from this low to this low, much lower. And then at the same time on the RSI, this has a higher low. So it's getting stronger as this has gotten weaker. So this is signaling, along with the pattern, that maybe we're going to get that break, and we got it. So let's continue on. A couple more things we want to look at. We got the Wyckoff accumulation. We also see Van Eck, the CEO of Van Eck. Bitcoin could hit $3 million per coin and become 5% of the global trade soon. What soon? God, in Bitcoin, we think it's tomorrow, but realizing that many of these larger legacy markets, traditional finance markets, may have moves that they forecast out to happen, in the next 20 years. With Bitcoin, soon is still going to be, and it feels like it's so far away, it could be sometime in the next, 2 to 5 years, which is exponentially faster than you see in legacy markets. I mean, let's be honest. We're at about $97,000, $98,000 today. $3 million. It's a major leap from where we're at right now. Get your position stacked, because I do think that we will at some point most definitely hit $3 million per coin. The question is going to be, is it going to be in 3 years? Is it going to be in 9 years? Is it going to be in 12 years? I mean, that's still a pretty damn explosive growth from $98,000 to $3 million if it takes 12 years to do that. But I would argue that if it took 12 years for Bitcoin to go, I would argue that if it took 12 years for Bitcoin to go from 100,000 to 3 million, then there's probably other things at play outside of Bitcoin on the global economic stage that is giving trouble to markets as a whole. It's not like there was an issue with Bitcoin. There is going to be something much larger at play that would slow down that growth. Bitcoin adoption is outpacing the speed and rate of adoption that we saw on the growth of adoption for the internet. And so if that's the case, even if we did it 1 for 1 between now and 2030, we would have roughly a 10x in number of people using Bitcoin between now and 2030. So you're telling me that we can't have at least a 10x in price? If we're getting a 10x multiple on new users, that means new people, that means new capital, that means new services, that means new transactions, all getting integrated in the system. And what will that mean for price on an asset that has a fixed total cap of 21 million? Nobody's seen an asset like this. So how do you even predict what the price is going to be on a 10x increase in the user base when you have a fixed total supply and exponential capital channels coming in, racing each other's to stack as much as possible? We're about to have an international Bitcoin stacking war between the US and every other country out there, even on a state level here in the US. Arizona just passed both houses. We're waiting for the governor to sign that bill. New Hampshire, I think it's North Carolina, just passed both their chambers as well. They're waiting. We are on the cusp of so much Bitcoin stacking. The race is now. I was holding that cough in the whole time. I clip every coupon I can find. No longer buy lottery tickets, and all I buy with the savings is Bitcoin. What a comment there. Andy S. saving the day with that comment. And you got a beautiful doggy there. How many of you people have dogs? I'm curious how many people of you have dogs. What are their names? I'm curious what the name of these dogs are. Beast Mode, how you doing? Granny's Garden, Lotus Pond, how you doing? Will Carter, Lewayne Weaver. We got Fade and Traffi, Brillo, Matthew Fiesel. We got the homies in the chat. We got new people in the chat. If you're new here in the last month, drop a 1 in chat. If you've only started, found your way to the BitLab streams within the last month, I want to welcome all of you. I appreciate y'all. We're here on a basically nearly daily basis, Monday through Friday. We also have content going out on the weekends. We got our community. We are integrating with Discover Crypto, Blockchain Basement, BitLab Academy. We're integrating all of our separate Discords into one super group that when you guys get involved there, you can get access to all of our content in the private member signals and all that kind of stuff. Shout out to Massachusetts, Brillo. Big love to each one of you. Also, Crypto Billy, how you doing, my friend? Giver's gain. Now let's continue on. We got some more things we want to look at. The global liquidity. It feels like we're just beating a drum at this point. Global liquidity breaking to all-time highs. This move, look, every point here is global liquidity breaking to all-time highs in the past. And I mean, on these massive upturns on global liquidity has always preceded the massive upturns on the Bitcoin explosive price action. But Bitcoin's dying here. Oh my God, the price is crashing. Why is it crashing? I guess it's done. Okay, well, let's look at the data. Global liquidity was pulling back. When you understand the other things, the other markets, all this stuff works in concert. So we're seeing here this massive uptrend in global liquidity, explosive, right after. If I zoom in here, let me zoom in here. This is the FTX collapse. Boom, look at this collapse right here on FTX. Price action went flat. In that time, right on really this collapse of FTX, we also saw a massive surge in global liquidity. But it's not directly correlated to Bitcoin. It didn't go up. Well, you have a small period of time where this liquidity goes up, and then about an 80 to 100 day on average, then you start seeing that basically trickle down and flow into assets. It's Bitcoin, it's S&P 500, it's every investable asset out there, especially risk assets, you start seeing large increases in price action. And so in this case, look, massive uptrend, and then, okay, sideways. And then boom, we got the launch back here in January 2023. And then from that point forward, we've seen a massive uptrend from $15,500 all the way up to $109,000. And people are wondering, is it over? Meanwhile, we just got that signal again with the global liquidity has been running to the upside. We're right now within that window, that 80 to 110 days. We're in that window now that global liquidity has been exploding higher. And when you adjust over, this is the moment right now. Within these weeks, within this month, within May, where you're supposed to sell in May and go away. Meanwhile, every signal out there is saying we are about to have to strap into rocket ships with as many parachutes as possible, because this is about to get so gosh darn exciting for every one of you that's been stacking. And then we see the liquidity of people that are just trading back and forth. Now, coming back over here, where do we see the hot points at going into the weekend? We have this huge amount of liquidity above us. These brighter areas mean that there's a lot of liquidity of people trading derivatives, right? People trading leverage. A lot of liquidity up here that these are people actually betting short. Believe it or not, when you have these hot zones above the price, this is all people along this way are taking shorts. And this is a point at which those trades have to get closed, AKA if they don't get closed, they will get liquidated, forced closed. And what is a leveraged position short? To close a leveraged position short, you have to buy essentially that amount. So coming up and closing this, if the price pushes up there, the exchange will automatically at certain points, if you hit your liquidation zone, will force those close, AKA force a buy. So what happens here? Look, we saw this magnet above us, price action, boom, cleared it out, and we got a little bit more legs, a little bit of a short squeeze here that pushed us a little higher. And now we've actually found some basically nice little shelf here, just getting consecutive higher lows all the way along the way. So when we do look into the weekend, I just want to caution you and remind you, there tends to be a little bit lower liquidity on the weekend. But if we get a price action move to the downside, I would rather price go down on the weekend and then up during the week. Why? Because the CME futures close Friday night and they open Sunday night. CME futures trade on traditional stock market hours for the options, right? So when we're looking at the CME futures and we realize the market closes on Friday, opens on Sunday, then if the price action moves during that time, further high or further low, and then the market opens, you create these things called futures gaps. So if we zoom out on this, let's go back right here. We have a futures gap. Let me turn off the, this is right here. If we go the bottom side, option J, and then we go to, we can do this right here where this is that gap. So this is when it closed. You see on the bottom, this is when it closed on Tuesday. We had a gap overnight, because this closes overnight as well, remember? Or it closes during a period when the markets close before the options open. But look at this. This came down. It tried to fill it. We still have a gap. It bounced off the top here. If the market were to move to the downside, scream at this opportunity for joy, because if this happens, people get so mad. Oh my God, oh my God. And if you close this, say the market closes here today, then now you have a massive gap above us, and markets tend to fill on a pretty damn high hit rate. The Bitcoin market tends to fill the gaps that are here, meaning that if the market closes, say it closes right where we're at today, right here, and Sunday it opens down here, now you have this massive gap, or a magnet, if you will, kind of the price action having to come up to fill this. So rather than having the gap below us, that would suck. How will we get a gap below us? That would be the price action closes here, and then over the weekend, you have Sunday, the price action ends up, you see the price on Sunday, CME futures say it opens up here. Then now it's like, okay, well, now we need to come down and clear this before making the move. So either way, it gives you a good idea just of cautionary things to pay attention to. Now, when we're looking at other things on the chart, I'm super bullish on what's happening in the market, but let's look at the dollar. The dollar right now is clearly in the zone that's trying to suggest that risk assets pump. And what have we seen? We've seen the Bitcoin take some nice moves. We've seen altcoins make some nice moves. We talked about this the other day, that there was a potential for this to actually push up a bit. And if that were the case, if the dollar, strength of the dollar was pushing up a little bit, it doesn't mean that the Bitcoin and altcoins are going to crash. It just removes super exuberance or likelihood from that bullishness of those other assets. If this is pushing up, at minimum, it suppresses how much bullishness is going to be there, if not actually causing bearishness. Now, if this, rather than having this fully reverse and make that attempt back up, this is actually looking weak. So what this has actually panned out to be throughout this week, it looks more like a bear flag. If this were the case, then the dollar, it doesn't matter where this is going to go. This just suggests that the projection on the dollar chart actually is for a further move to the downside. This would be fantastic for Bitcoin and altcoins. So let's look at altcoins. What do altcoins look like? Well, we've got potentially this sort of inverted head and shoulders kind of formed. We've also broken out of this descending channel. We're holding up a bit here. If this can hold here, especially above this orange box, then this would be an excellent setup for some explosive growth on those altcoins. For those of you, as British Hodl calls it, for those of you that are out there poop coining, this does suggest that we may be getting a bounce here. If the others chart, which is every altcoin outside of the top 10 market cap, if this does break down from here, then I do think that means that you're going to see some pretty big losses on those altcoins. But this is looking bullish in structure as it is. I mean, even here, much lower low. Look at this, flat lows here on the RSI, bullish divergence. If you look on the total chart, minus USDC and USDT, so you're taking the largest stablecoins out, the total is showing pretty beautiful W formation. We've broken past this neckline right here. Actually, not only broke out, look, it tested this and is trying to make that next leg to move higher. What are we watching for? We're watching for the previous range lows right in here coming across. That's going to be an area of interest. Why do we want to draw that out? Because if you know it's an area of interest, if price action pushes up into this and it rejects, it's not like, why did it reject? You see, there's a substantiated reason. Some people call it price memory in the charts, where price liquidity regions, where price action in this price region, boom, bounce, 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 bounce. So there's a lot of buyers there. A lot of buyers here that kind of got washed out, but then buyers and sellers in here. And then look, comes up and now there's sellers because this rejects. So coming back up into this, it likely, minus some major bullish news that just makes the market just slice right through this. The trade war is completely done. Stimulus is coming in. There's money printing. Everything in the market is just going to absolutely boom if that happens. But not counting on those, golden swan events. This looking at the price action, it would make sense if this comes up and has a little bit of work to do here, potentially even breaking through, finding support. We're going to have some work to do at this region. But once we clear this region, I do think that this is going to be all systems go, at least in the interim for what we're seeing in the crypto market. But guys, I'm so bullish on what's happening in the market. We did a lot of TA yesterday on a bunch of different altcoins. We still see Chainlink here in this broadening wedge, trying to make that attempt. We're watching this zone directly above. Most of the TA I did yesterday, by the way, hint, for those of you, no matter where you're watching, make sure your thing. I want you all to look right now if you're watching on YouTube. About 50% of you that watch on YouTube on a daily basis, it shows that you're not even subscribed. So just double check right now. Zoom out, look at this. Make sure it says subscribe, hit that button. Join, become a member. It's about $1.25 a week if you want to be a BitLab member on YouTube. And on that note, I'll leave it up because I think I forgot to delete it yesterday. Let me see. Yeah, so it's still up 1 day ago right here. I posted one of the private member streams. This is why you need to be subscribed and have your notifications on, because if you had them on, you would have seen this post right here. There's a private member stream right here that I do about 20 minutes of TA on a bunch of altcoins. All that TA is basically the same today. So just take a look at that going into the weekend. We got a lot more stuff coming, some stuff coming throughout this weekend, also with other content. But I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. Make sure you're subscribing, getting involved. Make sure if you're watching on Rumble, shout out to each and every one of you. Shout out to the Rumble team for, being channel partners and pushing our content so hard. It's an honor to be one of your partners over on Rumble and we're getting like between 18,000 to 50,000 views a day on our content. You don't believe me? Great. Well, let's go ahead and pull it up. Look at this. 47,000, 19,000, 19,000, 15,000, 23,000, 41,000. So all of you, thank you for Rumble for that partnership. If you are watching, hit that following button, get involved with us. We do have a link if you want to get involved in trading with us, which is also get you some special access in our joint Discord that is launching. We're in process of launching it. So, and that link is, it's in the pinned comment if you're watching on YouTube. It is in the pinned comment if you're watching on Rumble. If you're on X, I will post this comment right here now on X. It will be under right here. I'll post that link right there in the comments. There we go. I'm signing as Discover Crypto, but that's okay. No, actually, I'm going to switch that. Let me switch that. I will have the link I'll have the link in the comments there, but hit that retweet, hit that like button. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Let's head over to Blockchain Basement now. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. We're going to go to DZ, DZ from Discover Crypto. We're going to his wedding this weekend. So shout out to him, and hope you all, again, let's just be positive. Let's give love to people. Let's find gratitude. Let's stop being victims. Let's take control of what we're doing in our lives and take accountability in our actions. That's really the path to happiness, is feeling good about how you're spending your time and working towards things that you really believe in. At least that's my take, but that's all I got. And I'm appreciated. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Also, make sure you're protecting your crypto. Make sure you're protecting your future. Head over to getarculus.com. Use code BitLab20 for the best crypto cold storage solution out there. I really do believe so. One tap, total security. Getarculus.com. use code BitLab20 for 20% off. That's all I got, everybody. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one. Adios, muchachos.